We are here since January 11th, so we're going to do this January 13th, and it's actually being released on the Korean American Day. Cool.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, really?
Topics.
So yeah, if it's going to be this Wednesday, that's Korean
The
American
day we
Day.
know, all three of us know nothing about.
Nothing. Yeah. Exactly. That's why I wanted to ask if we
know
talk
its
about that. I was
existence.
going to quickly look up. Is like, is it really 1903 that this is the
I
first
know, I'm
one?
about to look it up.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by three Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Dude, okay. Welcome to the Janchi Show. This is your boys KJ, Nathan, and Patrick.
That was so unenthusiastic. Come on, you can do better than that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. This is
You can do better than that.
You can do better
this is
than that. It's
this is what a solo
2021.
show. Yeah, it's what a solo show. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. Solo show feels like. It is. What a time to be alive.
I get it why you're unenthusiastic. I get it. I get it.
Wait, why am I unenthusiastic?
I don't know. Is that what we said?
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, okay. See,
don't
okay.
know
That's
why.
what I thought. That's what I
I
thought.
think we should always be. We should be, welcome back.
Oh, dang. You know what? Actually, you know what we haven't done in a long time is explain what Janchi means. So, Patrick, will you explain what Janchi means?
Oh, of course.
To listeners,
throw it to me.
to listeners who have found us on Clubhouse and are familiar with the sweet dulcet tones of Patrick's voice, please explain to our new fans what Janchi means.
So, Janchi means celebration and feast and collective gathering where we talk about the day and the times and we use it to talk about our culture and our shared heritage. Thank you for talking about my dulcet tones. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, thanks for getting real close to the mic for that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's getting ready to drop a
yeah,
solo
but-
again.
That's basically what we do here on the show is we want to celebrate those things together, and we usually do it with a food component, which if you hang around long enough, you might find out.
Or you can skip to the end where we have time codes if skipping to the end is your thing. But don't spoil it for
That's
yourself.
true.
Don't be
Yeah.
like that.
And we're going to have more on YouTube, so you can watch it too. I know a lot of people have actually asked me about that, and they're like, we liked your YouTube stuff, but it was like, I was like, well, that's the only food portion. We actually have the interview and everything else on the regular show, so listen to the podcast too. So
Yeah, you fools. Just kidding. I don't think our fans are fools. I think our fans are lovely. So I don't know. I guess we actually did already talk about this. I was just curious about kind of Nathan just kind of diving into. So we all met on Patrick's clubhouse room to talk about adoptees, and Nathan, you brought up a good point about like, man, I've got this side of the story. My story falls in this camp, and I feel like in that room there were lots of other stories. I guess kind of looking back really quickly, has the way that you have interacted with adoptees and I guess like adoptee topics changed as you've gone through the show?
without a doubt, I feel the eye-opening part for me over the last 5 months or so that we've been exploring doing the show and just doing research on adoptees has changed my opinion of how I felt specifically about it, because I've always felt very openly about my story, and specifically my story. I knew I had heard other stories out there, rumors of things, and I knew that some stories were bad and stuff, but I guess I didn't think that I didn't know anybody who had bad stories yet. And so it wasn't as real to me. And so when I hear these unfortunate stories of people not able to connect with their family, or not wanting to connect to their family, or just extreme emotional distress from connecting with their family, or distress from their adoptive family, or issues with their upbringing, those kinds of things, it really saddens me to hear these stories now. But so that is, for me, has changed my outlook, because I was always just very open and thinking everything was just kind of cheery. I'm adopted, I have my family, and then especially last year, it's like, and I had found my biological family, so everything was very just yay. And then now I'm hearing everyone's story, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be so yay too quickly. Maybe I should tone it down just a little bit and listen more, instead of assume that everything is like my story.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I feel like I had an idea of what adoption is and was and my relationship to it, and then going through the show I'm like, oh man, things are changing, and like this thing that was very simple for me to understand, I was adopted, has suddenly just become so much more complex. And yeah, so it's just interesting. Patrick, I know that you have really taken to this and you've been like, I'm gonna run with it, like adoptees are my people, I'm gonna do this. And you've started, at least in the small things that I've seen, like labeling yourself an advocate for adoptees and adoptee rights. So can you explain, I guess for Nathan and I, like what's that first step and what does that mean to be an advocate for adoptees and for adoptee rights? Because that's not a conversation that I am ready to enter into, but like when I am, I'd like to know, like, where should I start?
I think the question is both simple and difficult to answer. I think as an advocate for adoptee rights and issues and anything like that, just for adoptees themselves, I very much think it's, you support an adoptee and you do what you can to uplift and amplify their voices. I think that's advocacy in itself. I think when you get into the difficult waters of trying to parse what that is when it comes to rights or things that adoptees are fighting for in Korea, like the things that we had talked about in the room yesterday, just transparency with our records and things like that. That's when it becomes the issue that we see in the adoptee community of you're this or that, you're on this side of the line or that side of the line. And when you're on the side of being very against adoption, I think that advocacy there is fighting to maybe not end adoption, but for sure force that reform. And you're for sure bringing these issues to the table and putting those out in front. And those are the advocates that you're most likely seeing out in the streets that are doing those things when it comes to adoption. And then on the other side, that's more, I can't say that it's really different than the way that they would advocate for that side of adoption. It's just in a different way. They're fighting to make sure adoption stays open and that you continue to do that. Maybe they probably are fighting for reforms too. That's the thing. There's things on both sides that are very much the same, but because of all of our, own biases and our own opinions and things that we grew up learning, we're split. And it's really hard to come back to that middle. And yeah, so I think when anybody is ready to step into maybe an advocate role, I think once you get out of the fog or start that journey, that is your first step into advocacy. Because maybe you're not advocating for all adoptees yet because you're not ready to do that, but you're advocating for yourself. You're wanting to be heard a little bit more or be more seen, or at least learn more for your own betterment or your own enlightenment. And I think that automatically puts you in that role, and maybe you wouldn't give yourself that title, but that's that first step in the journey, I think. And honestly, that whole coming out of the fog thing is the most important thing that you could do. And again, as we talked about before, it can take many different forms, come at many different times. But once you find that area, I think you've taken your first steps into advocacy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the most important thing, or the first step, like you said, is that you have to kind of do it for yourself. And I know that they talked about that yesterday. Everyone, they do it for themselves. They want to find either their own story, or they want to find other stories, or they hear a story that inspires them to do something about it and learn about it, read about it, watch a film about it. And that's really how you become an advocate, either like for other people or for yourself, or just for a cause in what you've heard. So I think that's very true. I
think that's what's so interesting is that so we all have like this shared initial origin, regardless of what country you were adopted from. You were adopted, and then if all the stories that you listen to, you hear. Even when you grow up in Minnesota, like the land of 10,000 CADs or adoptees, they're still like, I didn't grow up with any other adoptees or in much diversity. Like the only story that I've heard anybody be like, yeah, I grew up with adoptees was Molly Enlow, who was our previous guest.
Yeah.
And that was like blowing my mind because it's like, you grew up with a ton of adoptees. That's insane. And even for her, it wasn't until later that she started to really take those steps and not only do that, but pursue like the cultural heritage like we're doing with this show. And so that's what I find so interesting is that as we constantly say, we're not monolith. We're not a monolith as a community or as a people, and we all have these unique lived experiences, and we all find ourselves hitting the same things in these moments that's where the kinship or the relation comes in, is because even though the way they got to coming out of the fog or the way they got to wherever step they're on is different, it's the same for us. And that's what binds us together, is that, either I've made that step and it's like, oh, I can relate to that, or I haven't made that step yet and it's like, okay, that makes sense, and maybe that's what pushes you forward to take that step, So I think that's what's so interesting about that dynamic there.
I think it's interesting, Nathan, you were saying, and Patrick, I guess, really started it, which is saying, like, advocate for yourself first. And it reminded me of this conversation I was having with my mom and with my wife, just about how I use adjectives to describe myself as disabled. And there's a whole discussion amongst American activists. I found this on disabledworld.com. But like in the UK, the term is disabled people. In America, they're like disabled people or people with a disability. Which one do we use? But I read this and I was like, oh, this totally explains where I'm at, both with my understanding of myself as disabled and my understanding of myself as adopted and Korean and all those things. So, it just says the basic reason behind some members of groups' dislike for the application of people first language, i.e. person with a disability, is that they consider their disabilities to be inseparable parts of who they are. Like, I am disabled, that is never going to change. And so it makes sense for me to call myself disabled, right? So like, I am adoptee, that's never going to change. So it makes sense for me to call myself an adoptee, right? That's not like a singular, I wasn't adopted and that's it. That's all that I had to do with being adopted, right? But I am an adoptee. That is a reality and identity that I will have to continue to live in and reckon with, right? In the same way that I am Korean. And so that is a thing that I'll have to reckon with and whatever. So that's just interesting. And I was like, oh man, all of these intersectionalities in my own life about being disabled and Korean and adopted and all that stuff. And then a bunch of other things. Yeah. So it's been interesting, like how so many of my journeys have paralleled each other, and like I couldn't move forward in one area until I had moved forward in another, so yeah. Thanks for the show, guys.
Yeah. KJ, has your awareness of all those things that you just said changed since the start of the show? Has your opinion changed of being disabled or being Korean, like you said, affected each other parallelly at the same time? Parallelly, I don't know if that's a word. But, you know what I'm saying.
It's a word enough.
Like,
yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, that's the whole reason for my post at the end of 2020 was like, that was the moment when I accepted myself as enough. Like I didn't have to fight, especially, like I make a lot of jokes about having 9 fingers or like coming up short or whatever, just because that is the reality of my life. And I am a fan of self-deprecating humor, but like, I released the weight of needing to justify myself against 10-fingered people. And so I'm just like, I am 9-fingered. That's just who I am. That's never going to change. And so I'm just going to like let go of that. And I'm still, I think, grieving a lot of those things of like in that process of acceptance. So like still trying to grieve, like, especially, I mean, just like, I don't know, had a really vulnerable conversation with my mom over the holidays, and I started crying about things that I did not anticipate crying about, because I was like, I've already made my peace with this, but something about talking to my mom, I was like, this puts me in a whole new headspace, Yeah. So it was like, I don't feel like when I enter into an Asian American room or Facebook group or whatever sphere, I don't feel like I have to justify how Korean I am, and I don't feel like I have to force myself to relate to, your mom, or like your harmony or your immigrant parents or whatever. Like, no, I don't. But I no longer feel like, well, it's because I'm adopted and I have to do like, that just kind of natural like rhythm that we fall into of like, your name is Nowak and you're Asian and you're like, well, you know what I mean? Like just that rhythm. Yeah. I just like, I don't feel like I have to justify any of that or go into that rhythm anymore. I'm just like, I'm adopted. deal with it.
It's
You know what
also
I mean?
become more normalized, like you were saying, because we've heard more stories, we've met more adoptees. All three of us have non-Korean last names. It became more of a norm, and I like you were saying, you don't have to justify it anymore because it is becoming normal. It's becoming, more eye-opening that we are not alone. And hopefully that's what our show is doing is other people are listening going, oh, my last name is Smith and I've been feeling that way this entire time. And so that it's very true. And yeah, I'm happy that you guys are here.
So part of I feel like part of what I've been going through now is like, because I've accepted it, I like enjoy how I learn a lot more. And so like in the same way, I think that Minju is exploring what it means to be Korean by like looking at Korean proverbs and like kind of all of that stuff and like understanding the culture behind the language. I've been, doing my best to intake more Asian American history. One of I think the coolest ways that I did that was I just recently finished Interior Chinatown, and at the very end of the book, he just dropped some knowledge. And he was like, we've been in this country for over 200 years, and yet we're still always viewed as the perennial foreigner. And I was like, dang, because that's a thing that I feel myself. And now I'm reading Pachinko by a Korean American author. I'm going to find out later. Now I'm reading this book. Wait, I'm going to just kind of look it up so that I don't have to edit this out later.
Say Pachinko. That sounds like that Japanese gambling
It
game.
is. No, it is.
Okay.
You're the second person to bring up Interior Chinatown today. I heard it in another clubhouse room. I was like, did somebody
Dude,
say
it's an
that? And I'm
award-winning
was that
novel. It's
KG?
so good.
KG. Was that KJ? Please
KG,
cut out that I just called you Kevin Garnett. KG. Oh, what is happening? No, I want to get it now because that's obviously two people have just brought that up. I gotta get that book.
I love how both of you are very, ambitious with wanting to learn the culture and the history behind the adoption world and community. I've been learning a little bit here and there, but as we know, I have less time, I feel. But one thing that I have explored a lot more since the show started is food and that part of the culture. And I've joined actually a few Facebook groups for Korean cooking.
Oh, cool.
And I've been watching like all the things that they come out with. I mean, I posted one yesterday in the after party which was just some guy found, gochujang shrimp chips. And I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, nice. But I'm learning more about the food in the culture, I think, since the show started. And that's really been fun. Okay,
so Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. She is a Korean American author. I've got myself sorted. Anyway, so it's a really cool read. It takes place from like 1910 to 1960 something, I think, is the time period. So it's during Japan's occupation of Korea. And yeah, it's interesting. Like I hear foods that, especially now that I have tried certain things like the tteokguk and whatnot, I'll hear spices or flavors or whatever foods, dresses, like a lot of Hanbok references. I'm like, oh, this is traditional and like kind of rooted. I mean, that's only like 100 years ago, but like rooted in our culture. And then like, especially hearing in this book, Korean culture played up against the Japanese culture, in occupation and things like that. Like you start to, at least for me, I feel like I start to realize what's important to Koreans and what like why things are the way they are. And it gives me kind of just a greater understanding of what it means to be Korean in the same way that like we take American history. And so like when Alexander Hamilton drops as a musical and like an album, you're like, oh, I get all these references, and you hear little bits and little snippets of things in the way that, Hamilton is written, that is about history and yet also informed by history, so it's just like, I don't have to feel like I am trying to make up for lost time. I don't feel like I'm trying to like get in on this thing that I've missed out on, even though like I am. I'm more gracious with myself. I'm like, no, this is just me learning about, myself in a way that like I remember talking to a Korean and I was like, oh yeah, these numbers, like these Sino-Korean numbers. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, I mean, like these are like Chinese Korean numbers. And so there's like, oh, I didn't know that. Cause like he didn't have to teach Korean. He just knew the numbers, So it's like in the same way, like that our histories might be locked to us unless we explore it in certain ways. I've just been excited to read more about Asian American history and then kind of Korean history and things like that. So Yeah, it's been cool. Also, I used my dole soak for the first time.
Oh,
Made
yeah.
myself some crunchy rice.
Oh,
was really
nice. Please, did you put some? I found, by the way, a bottle at just my local Vaughn's Pavilions. It was gochujang, but it was the Babigo flavor. They also make like other things. I think they make they make rice. They make all kinds of Korean food. They actually had a little
Bibigo.
restaurant out here for a while. Yeah, but I bought that brand of gochujang, which is probably not very authentic. But I've been putting that on everything lately. Like I had eggs and I had a little breakfast burrito this morning. I threw it all over.
I can't get over how sweet it is.
It is very sweet. I know.
Like, because I'm really
sweet.
used to sriracha, which is very
Same.
Yeah,
not
Love
sweet.
sriracha.
I guess I don't know.
I wonder if they have different like heat indexes of that, like so that you can, so it's not as sweet and maybe it's more spicy. I don't know.
I think that there are different types of gochujang.
Yeah. Well, I know there's powder and paste and.
Well, I mean,
little
like there's
small
like different like
tubes.
varieties of.
There is
In
Oh,
pachinko,
okay.
they talk about like different like I think it's called like che gochujang or something. So yeah, like there's like variations of a theme even there.
I'll
So-
pay more attention next time I go to the H Mart, but I always make sure I have at least one jar now in my house. So.
Yeah, somebody holler at us on socials if we're right or wrong.
Yeah. What's your favorite? Give us a favorite brand. We'll go try it out because I love that stuff.
Or send it to us so I don't have to go to the store.
If you're a gochujang supplier.
Enthusiast. I just wanted to pick up on what you guys have talked about, just the history, specifically to Nathan's point about just learning the history. One of the reasons that I've been doing that is because it's helped me inform just this identity processing, I guess. And so instead of just only doing or only looking up or talking to just adoptees, like learning the actual history of the process has really been helpful to me in those books. And yeah, we know you're busy. We know you got stuff going on, but I like what you're doing with the food. And this is something I wanted to ask based in that history, is that when you're picking new foods to try to make or to just go out and get, are you getting like the significance to like whatever that meal might be, or like how that's used in Korea, or is that something that comes kind of after that? Or I don't know, because I feel like when you do something new, you're like, oh, they eat this on this day for this. So I don't know if that was like something you'd been exploring as well.
Yes and no. It depends on what I'm eating. I mean, some of the things it's not that I know the full history of kimchi, but I definitely, it's in my process right now to buy some more supplies because I've seen a lot of people. I don't know why. Maybe Facebook is spying on me, but I said something about making kimchi, and all of a sudden I keep seeing all these posts of people making kimchi, and so I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to make it. So I have never made it before. I'm gonna make it. I'll film it too, and then maybe we'll put it on the after party.
Just go live randomly on our social handles.
Yeah, well, I don't know if anyone wants to watch me for that long. I don't know. I don't know. So I'll edit it together and put it back. But I definitely want to try it and make it. But I've been seeing so many different recipes. And yeah, I enjoy the history of the food in general. I mean, I love seeing where it came from. Like when I went to Korea, seeing that they, had kimchi, outside in the in those I can't even know the terminology for it, but it's the giant vases in the outside where they make the kimchi in it, and there's fences around them so you can't go in there and steal it.
It's important.
Yeah, it's very important. Don't go in this area right here. This is all our kimchi. But I thought that was really interesting just to be able to see that, instead of when I was younger, I used to think, oh, it was buried in the ground. And I for some reason, just always expected it like a garden or something.
Yeah, I don't actually understand why it's buried in the ground. Like, is it for storage only? Or is it like because it's
for the
cooler in
fermenting
storage?
part.
Yeah, I think it's like because don't a few different cultures do like in-ground cooking of certain things? I feel like I've seen that in other cultures as well.
Sure, like Polynesians, like they do all their stuff underground too.
That might be.
I know.
I don't know.
Well, yeah. Have you been to a luau?
I have not.
Oh man,
Bro, we didn't grow up spending every Christmas in Hawaii, okay?
Yeah, no kidding.
So when they roast
Just
a
California.
pig in Hawaii, they like totally put it underground in this like underground oven, and then they bury it by putting like banana leaves and sand and other things on it, and it just it just all the goodness and the heat just stays under there for I don't know how many hours, and then they take it out, and that's part of the luau is when they unearth the pig and they take it out, and you just see them take it out and they shake it, and it just falls apart because it's so tender.
Amazing.
How
Like
good
it's
was it?
amazing when you see that, and then when you eat it too. So Kahlua pork, go get some.
Good Kahlua pork plug.
Go get some.
Kahlua pork. It's tender, baby.
It's so tender. Falls off the pig.
I just bought some Target kimchi the other day. So
Go ahead, more Target
Re-up.
kimchi.
Nice.
I was in Target for something, and I was like, I'm going to get some of this because I'm trying to eat less and eat more healthful, a little more healthily.
So
and
you-
I'm like, let me just throw this on rice.
So you know what my wife said when I told her I was going to make kimchi, because I'm seeing all these posts. I was like, I'm going to make some kimchi because I bought the Napa cabbage, so I have that part of it. But she's like, can we actually buy like a jar of kimchi too, so that we can compare afterwards?
Wow.
In my mind, I'm like, what are you saying?
thanks.
What are you saying? You don't think mine's going to be authentic? What?
Nice.
I see how it is now.
Authentically Nathan, but I'm gonna go with the jug.
I'm gonna go with this jar
Just
over
in
here
case.
of kimchi now. But good try. E for effort.
That's
Hey,
funny.
forever, honey. Amazing.
I'll try it if you make it. Send me some.
Yeah, that'll ship fine, right?
Yeah, sure. I'll perfect my recipe for you guys. So for when our real Janchi comes up.
Gosh,
Speaking of
hopefully this
Janchi,
year.
I am actually preparing for a real Janchi next week.
Are you really?
What?
My daughter's Dol Janchi.
Yeah.
Nice. That's super exciting.
Her Dol Janchi is actually next week. And so we've bought her the hanbok, and not only that, I don't know what the other pieces are called, but she's got this little crown thingy that looks like a I don't know, like a princess. It looks like a giant garlic on her head, but it's so cute.
The warding off
And then
vampires.
she's got like a little I don't know, it's like a belt that has little puff thingies on it too. It's super cute. So
awesome.
we'll be doing, and also of course the traditional doljabi, which goes along with the doljanchi, where they walk to the item and foreshadow their future. All my other sons, when they did it, they crawled because they couldn't walk yet at 1 year old. My daughter is the first one to be able to walk before one.
Nice.
So she's actually going to
Get
walk to
it.
it. So I'm very excited to see how quickly she beelines to whatever item she is going to choose.
What do you think she's gonna choose?
Ooh, I don't know.
Well,
We
yeah,
haven't
what are you
actually
gonna
even
put
What
out?
items are you laying
Yeah,
out?
see, we haven't chosen the items yet,
Okay.
so we have to have this discussion. It might be the similar items that we did for my sons, which would be like money. If we could put a microphone out there, we could put a book, some thread, a gavel.
Put out all Star Wars memorabilia. Then you know you got a winner. You'll
A
know you got a winner.
lightsaber,
We've got a Death Star. We've got
video
an
game
X-Wing.
controller,
We've got a Naboo Starfighter. I don't know that one.
Xbox. She's gonna be an esports player
Xbox.
someday. Yeah.
Well, see, you say that,
Yeah.
and we're gonna come back here in 20 years.
Well,
we're
we'll
gonna
still
have
be
on
here.
our 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And Robin's gonna be just signed her $1 million contract for the game to lead an esports
And it'll
team.
still be Fortnite.
It'll still be
How?
Fortnite. Exactly.
House season 120.
Amazing. Well, we don't have a guest, so we can go straight to our food segment.
Yeah, we got.
Y'all ready to get into it?
We got a.
We can go right into it.
We have a fun
We don't have
boss,
to come back.
right?
Well, I mean, we're going to take a break anyways.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
But when we come back, we will be jumping into our first item from Munchbox, which Munchbox is a snack
Munch
delivery
Addict.
service. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
It's the Munchbox from Munch
Just a little quick
Addict.
correction there.
You're right. You're
You
right.
better not cut that out. You always leave mine in when I
Yep.
mess them up. You better not cut that out.
Patrick's so salty about the time I leave in his.
He's like, every time KJ messes up, it
Freaking-
needs to stay in. Whereas when we mess up, it always stays in, right? So
Hey, man.
See, that's
Because I'm the editor. No.
I know that's
That
no
is
fair.
true.
Anyways,
Actually, you have control.
Yeah. So anyways, this is a
Conceded.
Munchbox, the
That's
Korean
fine.
Munchbox by Munch Addict. They do snacks from all over the world, but they gave us their Korean box, so we're real excited. It's not quite a mystery box because I'm sure we could figure out what it is online, but we're not going to spoil it for ourselves. So when we come back, we will jump into the first of those right now.
Roll, cut, clip.
Wait, that's not right. I said when we come back right now. Whatever.
Right
You get it.
now.
I think we got it.
Right now. We are back with the Munch Addict.
Got the munchies?
I do have the munchies all the time. Munch
I have
Addict.
the munchies too, because it's actually just
Baby.
hunger. It's actually just hunger right now.
So thank you, Munch Addict, for sending us these awesome boxes. We were very excited
open
to
it
see what's
up.
inside here.
Yes. All right.
Oh, I like that. To find more info, check our vault. Whoa.
Here we
That's
go.
cool.
Wow, look at that.
Munch Addict.
It's got
Munch
all
Addict, very
kinds of
smart.
stuff in here. So what we were told is that they have different boxes, right? We got the Korean box, so everything in here should be Korean.
I can't believe I haven't opened this because all this stuff's about to be gone.
we have to save some of it. We can't eat all of it right now.
We back,
good point.
baby.
Good point.
Oh yeah,
Oh, the
McCool.
McCool.
I was actually kind of
McCool.
okay. So here's the deal. I've been in Pachinko. They've been talking a lot about barley
McCool.
stuff, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to drink some of that McCool. And here it is, McCool.
McCool.
Very exciting.
What else have we had in here?
We've had the Koreban King
Oh,
Whale
yeah.
Crackers.
The whale chips.
One Koreban.
You're gonna have to translate half these things, KJ, because I don't know what to.
I mean, I'll be able to read it. I don't know that I can translate it.
Nope, we're calling it the exact translation. KJ with the exact translation of all of these Korean items.
Orion. Is that how it goes?
Oh, Ryan. It even says it in the little map we have here, the guide.
Oh,
There's a guide.
you don't need me for that business.
Oh,
Great.
that's awesome.
I'm over here trying to figure out what it all is from the Korean. There's
Munch
go-
Addict. Crushed it
Go
with the
Munch
guide.
Addict. Yeah.
Shoot.
Give us a cutesy guide for the people who don't know what any of this stuff is.
I'm not talking to the mic like a proper podcaster. This is exciting. What should we try?
I'm with Patrick. I want to eat like half the things in here already.
All right.
Let's
Oreo.
just
I
do
knew
the-
that was Oreo just by the color
Let's
of
just
it.
do the
too.
Oreo because we've already had it. Everyone's already had Oreos, so let's just
And
get
then
it
what's
out
the
of the way.
Keep it easy.
excitingness of that then?
We'll do.
Because it was made in Korea.
Why don't we eat something we have no clue what it is, like this?
No, I've already opened the Oreo. And then let's
Oh,
do
you
that
really
one
opened
too.
it? I was just joking.
Well, I already
Let's
opened
do a
it.
two. We
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
a double up. We can do a double up.
Sure.
Okay, this is a nice wafer.
What is this? I didn't read what that
do
one
a
was
double.
yet.
Yeah.
That's cute too. I like how the little Korean characters in the back are eating whatever is in it.
Very nice.
I'm going to take one bite of the Oreo and put it back in the thing and eat it after I eat dinner.
Wafer.
Does that count?
Sweet potato snacks.
Oh,
I really have to
yeah.
be careful though, because my son, both my children, I have now found out are allergic to a nut, and I don't know if it's peanut, if it's cashew, or pecan.
Yeah, you got to hide your nut snacks, bro.
But yeah, I gotta hide my nuts.
Got him.
Sorry,
oh my God.
kind of led me into that one.
Dude, this Oreo
You guys are eating the Oreo already?
is
Damn.
amazing.
Better than regular Oreo.
Yeah,
5 out of
that's
5.
what I was going to say.
Better than
Uh-huh.
Oreo.
So,
I have-
Oreo, bring this to America.
I have never seen Oreo sticks before, except either Japan or Korea. So I don't know why they
I
don't
lo-
have them here.
I love wafers like those, the tricolor, like the Neapolitan
Yeah.
Yeah,
wafer
that's
packages.
exactly what it is. Mhm.
So good.
But
And this is the
covered in
Oreo
chocolate?
version of that.
It totally tastes like an Oreo, but wafery.
Oh,
I feel like I'm eating Oreo O's.
I'm so happy right now.
I know.
It's like some good day.
Now I'm nervous. Maybe we should have ended with that one.
It's all downhill from here.
Okay, so wait, Nathan said you wanted to try
I was very curious what that
this
was.
one. Yeah,
Oh
Okay.
my gosh. What was
John
it? This one.
Choco Chim.
Yeah, what is that? I can't even.
Dude, it's Chonduk Choco Chim. Soft baked chocolate cookie with a nice, a rice mochi center.
Really?
Interesting.
CW. Is
Yeah.
that's the
brand.
Brand, right? Yeah.
So I can only assume that every month, when you get one of these boxes, it'll be different items in it each time.
Yeah, unless you go with the international box, in which case you'll get snacks from around the world. not
Yeah,
just
and that's
one
really
nation.
cool too.
Oh, this
So-
cookie already looks great because it's got chocolate in it.
Okay, this looks like just a regular cookie. Smells like a regular. It smells like a one of those like oatmeal Hostess. You know what I'm talking
Yeah, it
about
does.
with the things in the middle.
I bet Nathan wants some milk to dunk this in.
I have my coffee right here, actually.
Oh, there you
Gosh,
go.
I'm feeling. I think.
It looks like a very tasty
Oh,
chocolate
heck.
chip cookie.
I don't know. It's tough in the middle.
Just that mochi.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting
Oh
that.
man, I am spilling crumbs everywhere. The
yes,
ants are gonna
same.
love my desk. Oh,
I had to do
no.
hand under mouth or under chin,
man.
I guess I should say. Yeah, incapable of growing a beard, so I can't catch the crumbs there, so they just fall to the ground.
Oh man,
Or on my pants, and I wipe them, and it smears on my pants. So
that
great.
is a messy cookie.
It is delicious.
Oh, you can't even see it. Crumble.
They need to put.
Mashisoyo.
They need to put a disclaimer on that you need your vacuum handy after you eat it.
Oh wait,
It's
wow.
crumbly.
It's so crumbly.
Amazing.
It is everywhere. It's probably,
Look at it. Look what it did to my pants. I can't lift my leg that high, but
dude.
I'll do it in my B-roll.
I really don't want to see your B-roll now.
Look at that stain on my pants now.
Bro.
Show's going downhill.
Show is going uphill. Actually, no. My pants cleanliness definitely downhill.
I like that gummy mochi part in the middle, but I like mochi too because my wife's family. I actually got to make mochi one time at an event, so that's I
You
really
got to
like
make
that.
mochi?
Yeah, I got to pound rice with a hammer. I don't think it was called a
actually
hammer,
sounds fun.
but it was hard.
Okay, never mind.
Let's just say that it was not like a few pounds and you're done kind of thing.
We need to do a boba one too.
Oh my! I'm gonna give this cookie
Of tea.
because we haven't really been rating anything we've had so far, except I figured you guys were 5 on 5 on the Oreo.
Oh yeah, immediately.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this one
bunch
a
of
4
fives.
out of 5 on flavor, but a 1 out of 5 on convenience
So really like a 2.5 out of 5.
because
Or
it
3.
is just the most crumbly cookie. I can't even eat it without it just disintegrating, and it's too big. It's too big to do one bite.
What?
So-
I wish I had another one because I would prove you wrong. I feel like I'm wondering if it stays together more. It doesn't crumble as much if you eat it right away, like right after it's been made. I wonder if it slowly becomes crumbly after it's been packaged and shipped
I
out.
don't know. I don't know what to do with it. I'm confused. I feel like we need to take a break so I can go wash my hands.
I'll give that one a 3 out of 5. I love the flavor, but yes, agreeing with Nathan, totally too crumbly. TTC.
I did not think too crumbly would be a thing, but it's
CW,
everywhere.
too crumbly. Hashtag TTC. I'm coining it now.
Good flavor, but it's
It was good. I would eat more of them, but
Yeah, I would eat more of them. I thought it was good. I like the mochi center, but I don't love the aftertaste that I feel like is just sitting in my mouth. Maybe I ate it poorly or didn't have anything to
No, I
chase
get
it
that.
with. So it's you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 3 mat out of 5. Mashisoyo.
I'm having flashbacks, by the way, as I drink this mukul.
Oh yeah.
what we
you
used
open
to
that too?
I've just because we've already had it before on the show, but
That's true.
I'm having flashbacks of what we commented
I
on.
forgot how
you
how
forgot that
savory this
flavor,
is.
right? You're like, why does it taste like seafood?
It's like I just ate some beef.
that's
Wow.
hilarious.
Right?
I
I
was
totally
like, yeah, I
forgotten
remember what
about
this tastes
that.
like. I do not remember what this
And
tastes
then
like.
I had it again. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what it tastes
Yeah.
like. It's
do
not
we-
bad. It's just the initial like surprise of it, and then of course I remember that it's got buckwheat in it.
Yeah.
So
barley, right?
Barley. Sorry, not
Buckwheat,
buckwheat.
yeah.
Buckwheat.
Cool. Now with buckwheat.
Someone spiked my cookie. Yeah. So yeah,
Amazing.
It's barley, but it's just a weird first aftertaste.
Yeah, that first one hits pretty strongly, but the rest of them are good. So
All right.
You guys remember what you originally rated this? I don't remember mine.
now we'll have to
I
go
want
back
to say
and
it was
listen.
about 3. I would have said it's in the middle, but
I'm gonna
Yeah,
call
I
it
like
a
the
4.
smell.
Now that I'm back in it, I'm
you're up to a 4 now. I'm still
maybe
at a
4 and a
3.
half actually. It's a pretty good soda. Like I'm happy with it.
I think I probably gave it a 3, but I don't really
Mine's
like the
also
smell.
warm because we haven't refrigerated it and chilled
Yeah,
it.
we didn't know.
All right, Patrick, you said you wanted to have one cookie by itself, one bite. Here you go. Go for it.
Oh, you think I can't eat that one bite? You don't think I can churro this down in one bite?
You think that thing's gonna touch the dangly thing in the back of your throat?
Well,
I'm just saying, I don't know
that's
how-
for the after party. That's for the after party, baby.
So, should we go to the other snacks in the box?
Well, you're
here?
gonna eat all these? I thought you said you wanted to save some.
Oh yeah, we should save some of them.
We can save some for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next show, sure. Or we can keep it to a surprise for the next show. Who knows? I mean,
Keep
whatever
it a
you guys wanna
surprise. We've already gone through all of it.
My bad.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This has been another episode of the Janchi Show.
By the way, I was going to throw out some of their details too. If you're interested, I went to their website. You can actually pick how many snacks are in the box.
Oh.
So you can pick 5, 10, 15, or 60, which is a giant like box of snacks. It shows you little pictures of it. But yeah, they have different prices, every 3 months. It gets cheaper depending on if you want it every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or if you just want to buy one. But pretty reasonable, I would say, as far as the pricing goes. So,
what's the 60 count box called? Is that called child size?
it's called Patrick
512
size.
ounces.
It's the
size
Patrick
of an
box.
actual child.
It says if you like snacks as much as Patrick does, get the 60 item snack box. It's $100. It lasts only 1 week at Patrick's house.
KJ, sorry you co-opted your ending of the show.
Nope, it's fine.
To talk about Munch
It's
Addict.
fine.
I just felt we needed to plug a little more because it's so nice of them to send us this, and
Yeah, we really appreciate
I
it.
really enjoy.
Hashtag Munch Addict.
I really enjoy boxes of snacks that I don't know what's in it.
Same.
Mystery box.
So that is it. Thank you for watching the show. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel. Leave us a rating or a review on iTunes for the podcast. That'd be fantastic. New episodes of the podcast drop every Wednesday.
Email at Janchi Show at justlikemedia.com.
Yes, or at Janchi Show on all of the social handles. Nathan,
Or
where do
wherever
people
you
find
listen to your podcasts. Why does everyone always say that? It's like the most cliche.
Yeah, it's just because
ending.
there's like 8 million different podcast
Yeah.
players. Nathan, where can people find you?
You can find me right here at the Janchi Show. But if you're looking elsewhere, you can find me at Nowalkphoto on Instagram.
All right.
You can find Patrick at scarystare.com.
Patrick's got a
find me
silly
at-
Billy.
Like I said, someone spiked his McCool.
You can find me at Patrick in the World on Instagram. Actually, I've been using that for pretty much everything else. Also, my SoundCloud. Hit me up on Facebook, and if you're trying to get on Clubhouse, hit me up as well. Might be able to help you out. Maybe not. I don't know. But join us for our adoptee conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to plug that too. Are you Patrick in the World on Clubhouse?
Yes, I am. Good
Nice.
call.
So, so if you want to, Patrick is moderating an adoptee chat. It's open to Asian adoptees on Sundays. If you need help getting on Clubhouse, DM really any of the three of us, and we'll do our best to get you there if you want to be a part of that room. You can find me at KJ Relke anywhere that I want to be found. I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching the show. We'll see you next week. Peace out. Janchi Heyo, everybody.
Bye.
That's terrible.